morning and welcome to another episode of Money Talk with Melanie. We are broadcasting live from what is a dreary day here in Cape May County, New Jersey via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. I am your host, the business diva, your Melanie Collette. This morning. Now, I am contemplating changing my moniker from the business diva to your diva of dollars and cents, which I think in my sleep deprived state, I forgot to say. I was going to say your business diva or your diva of dollars and cents, and then it completely left my brain, which is just kind of funny. that is exactly what happened. Just a moment ago, I was going to say your diva of dollars and cents, and then it just left. It just totally left my sleep deprived little brain. Well, I mean, my brain's not little, but anyway, I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. Maybe that's a sign that it wasn't a good idea. I don't know. Anyway. You're listening to the business diva, Melanie Collette. This is Money Talk with Melanie. I'm very, very happy to be with you this Wednesday morning. My guest this morning is Barby Ingle. She's the president of the International Pain Foundation. She's also an author and a reality show star. She's going to talk to us this morning about how to save thousands on your medical bills. So I'm pretty excited about that this morning. About talking about that this morning. It also, we're going to have, I'm hoping everybody that my Google Hangout is working okay. It seems like it's frozen. I'm wondering if that's the same thing's going on with everyone. It looks like it's frozen. Anyhow, all kinds of technical difficulties seem to be going on. I don't know. I'm gonna see if that's gonna continue to happen. That happened to me the other day too. I'm gonna try it again anyway. It says that I'm live. It says that I'm okay, but then it also seems like it's frozen. That doesn't make me happy. Anyway, that's what's gonna go on this morning. There's tons of stuff happening in the news this morning that I'm not happy about. One of the first things that I saw in the news this morning, this was very upsetting, okay, in the Money Talk news report. Actually, but before we get to that, we do have some housekeeping that we need to do. Major things going on. First of all, I want to welcome a brand new sponsor, businessbuyeradvantage.com. is a new sponsor that we have at Money Talk with Melanie. Dave Barnett is a guest that we have had here on the show, and he is the sole proprietor. I shouldn't say the sole proprietor, but the CEO and founder of businessbuyeradvantage.com. And he is our newest sponsor. I'm very proud to have him on board. I was very impressed with him when I had him as a guest on the show, and he is our latest sponsor. I'm so excited. You're going to hear his ad when I play it during the break. So I'm super duper excited about that this morning. I'm super excited. His ad wasn't supposed to start until Friday, but I was able to get it today, and I said, what the heck, let's go, let's get it started. So I'm like super excited about that that's going down today. And he's just such a good guy. And when I had him on the show, it was just so all of the ideas that he had, all the information that he brought to the audience. And so I'm just really glad that I'm able to bring his services to my audience, and that he's sponsoring the show. I'm just beyond excited about that, and that's happening. His commercial for the first time. Ooh, yay, I'm back up. Yes. Okay, my Google Live is back up and running. Okay, very excited. And I didn't have to like restart it. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Okay. So Also, I'd also like to thank our sponsor and friend of the show, the Tax Mama, aka Eva Rosenberg, total rock star. Now, as you guys know, she is the Tax Mama. She has two fantastic books: Small Business Taxes Made Easy. Two award-winning books: Small Business Taxes Made Easy and Deduct Everything. And one of the most important things is that she's got her website, taxmama.com, taxmama with one M. If you go to her website, she will answer your tax questions free of charge. So go to her website, order her books. She's an expert in all things taxes. Got to have her on the show very soon. Need to reach out to her because they're working on tax reform, and especially since they did not get healthcare done. You know, tax reform is pivotal, and she knows everything there is to know about taxes. But go to her website, check her out, Eva Rosenberg, taxmama.com. And if you didn't catch my Facebook Live this morning, I talk a little bit more about how Tax Mama has been just so helpful to the show. And like I said, she's an expert in her field. You will hear her commercial during the break as well. But go to her website, check her out, buy her book. You will not be sorry. More housekeeping, more things that you need to know. I'm going to be on Sirius Patriot 125 on Friday. This is going to be my third time hosting Patriots Night. Very excited about that. It's a 3-hour news show, but it's also a call-in show. So if you have Sirius XM and you're going to be around on Friday night from 9 to 12, from 9 to midnight, it's a call-in show. Call me, holler at me. I love to talk to you and talk about the latest in news. Talk about what's going on in the news. You want to shoot the breeze, talk about your opinion, chat with me about what's going on in the news. Talk to me. That's going to be fun. It follows at least the last time I looked at the schedule. It follows Mark Levin, and it's a 3-hour show. So that's a Sirius XM Patriot, channel 125, and that's Friday the 18th from 9 to 12. I'll be there. That's Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Also, if you're within earshot of Daybreak USA, Angie Austin, that's KLZ 560 AM. At 7:37 in the morning a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're around, I do weekly commentary once a week on the Angie Austin show. If you feel so inclined, and you want to listen to me bloviate about whatever they ask me to talk about, I'll be on the radio there too. On Friday, Senator Ted Harvey is going to be back, and he is not only is he a former senator, but he is the chairman to defend President Trump. He does not have to defend him quite as fervently with me anymore. I have to tell you, pretty proud of President Trump yesterday. Yesterday is the very first time. Now I feel like I'm feeling a little Michelle Obama-esque right now. For the first time in my life, I'm proud of President Trump. It's not really true, but first time I'm proud of his behavior. I'm very proud of the policies that he's been passing. I have not been a big fan of his style, but I think he's learning. And that press conference yesterday was stellar, quite honestly. Usually I'm pretty peeved with him, but yesterday I thought he did a good job. Thought he did a really good job. Now, abbreviated Money Talk news report, and I'm going to tell you the most important thing in this news report, the most appalling thing in the Money Talk news report. Costco has to pay Tiffany $19 million because they sold fake Tiffany rings. What? Fake Tiffany? What in the world is going on? Okay, why? Okay, I don't know what. Okay, now what I'm gonna tell you what that sounds like. That ringing sounds like somebody's calling me on YouTube. Which, if unless that's my guest, which it better be my guest calling me. Which my guest really should be calling me on my meeting app. So that would be like odd. But anyway, hopefully it's just like a miscommunication. But anyway, but that's a travesty. Fake Tiffany. Now you know the business diva has all kinds of like serious issues with that. That's unacceptable. Fake Tiffany? No, never. Unacceptable. So when I saw that, I had to report it. And you know, Costco should be punished to the highest extent of the law. There should never be fake Tiffany, ever. I'm sorry. I know I'm exaggerating, but when I read that, I just thought, oh no. There is one thing that the business diva will not put up with, and that's fake Tiffany. I'm sorry. I'm not having it. So anyway, that is the Money Talk news report right there for you in your face. When we come back, hopefully we will have Barby Ingle. I think that she probably came in with a different method. I need to bring her in the Zoom method, but I will get her on the line in a few minutes. I am for certain. I will talk to you in a few moments.
Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to be less them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with 1M.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
Republicrats on the loose. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, for the most part, the only Republican who has consistently tried to stem the tide against the leftist Democrats' mission to literally demolish America has been President Donald Trump. For 7 years, we endured the Obama regime. And how many times did congressional Republicans announce they were putting together an alternative to Obamacare and were chomping at the bit to bring forth a more free market-based alternative? It was the free market system that years ago afforded the opportunity for America to produce what was the best overall medical care system on earth. Give us a Republican president, they yelped. So we, the people, delivered, and yet 7 months into the Trump presidency, and the Republicans have failed to send a good medical care plan to the president for his signature. Deputy Droop-Along lookalike Mitch McConnell blamed Trump for not understanding the slow workings of a democracy as a reason for no medical care plan. What a big fat lie. The truth is, McConnell, Ryan, and others are in bed with insurance company lobbyists and are also trying to help Democrats stop Trump's America First agenda. But ultimately, the ordained Trump presidency will prevail over those who have no regard for we, the people. I'm Ron Edwards.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello,
I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
Okay, we are back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette, and we have worked out our technical issues. I am so very happy to tell you that we have the one and only Ms. Barby Ingle, and we have her. I'm going to share screen so that everybody can see her. I'm going to share screen real quick. Give me one tiny second while I do that. So that everybody can see her lovely face. She's gorgeous. So I want everybody to see her. All right. Now everybody can see her. Not just me. There we go. Oh my gosh, you're gorgeous. Okay. You are. You know how you ever have people say this to you? Oh my gosh, you look just like your profile picture, and they're like really surprised. That happens to me too. You too, you look just like your picture. But anyway, so welcome to the show, Ms. Barb. Ms. Barb,
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Please do tell the audience. First of all, tell the audience about your superstar reality show status, and about your book. And then finally about you being president of the International Pain Foundation.
Sure. So I'm Barby Ingle, and I have been on multiple reality shows. The most recent is Extreme Time Cheaters on TLC. And that one is all about life hacks and what you can do to save time. And for me, time is money. And I refer to time as in energy pennies. So the show just basically documents my life and how it changed because I have chronic pain. And that happened back in 2002. I was in an auto accident. My whole life changed in an 8-second blink of an eye. And I've gone through medical bills. I've gone through surgeries I didn't need. And I've gone through not only physical complications, but the financial complications of living with a chronic disease. So I decided I'm going to start sharing that, and I started volunteering for the International Pain Foundation, and now I'm the president of the International Pain Foundation. And I also wrote multiple books, but my most recent book is called From Wheels to Heels, because after my accident, I ended up in a wheelchair for about 7 years, and I was able to get out of that wheelchair and also get all my medical bills, which totaled over $1 million, under control, paid off, and I'm debt-free now. So it really has been a process physically, mentally, and financially to get through it. And so I wanted to share so that other people don't have to go through those same struggles that I went through.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So $1 million in medical bills. So, you know, it's important that you share the amount of money that you're talking about, because I'm sure that, you know, there are members, you know, there are listeners right now that have, you know, medical bills piling up that they feel are, you know, that's an insurmountable, you know, amount of money that they're dealing with. And with the healthcare being so up in the air right now, and with them not getting the healthcare bill done, you know, last week or 2 weeks ago, however long ago it was, when I came across your information, I thought this is really someone that I want to have on a show to discuss some alternatives and some ways to get those bills paid. And so I'm sure you're going to have all the answers for my audience. I'm sure you're not going to have all the answers, but some really important information for my listeners.
I do have some very important information for your listeners. The biggest mistake that I found that I was making was that medical bills, 8 out of 10 of them, according to JCO, say that there is a mistake in those medical bills. And so if you can learn to spot those and correct those, you can reduce your medical debt dramatically. So also, even before you even get a bill, ahead of time, make sure that you are doing your legwork and talking to your provider offices, to the billing people at the offices to make sure your insurance is going to cover whatever treatment option that is being presented or procedure that's being presented. Make sure that all the people on the surgical team are covered under your insurance. And if they're not, and it costs you extra, what can you do to get that for sure covered ahead of time, even if the people aren't on your plan? Sometimes if it's a provider that offers a treatment or a procedure that doesn't fall under your insurance, because every policy is different, you can negotiate and say, this is the best doctor for my disease or condition, and I would like to have permission to see this doctor under my in-network rates. And that can save you money right off the bat before you even get a medical bill. So those are important things to do. But there's 6 things that you have to look for when it comes to medical bills.
Okay.
And the mistakes that are made. Some of them are overcharges intentionally, and some of them are actual mistakes. The first thing is make sure that all of the data on the medical bill, and you get a medical bill from your provider, and you also get an explanation of benefits, EOB, from your insurance company. You have to compare those together. Make sure that they match up. Check the spelling of your name. If your name is misspelled, all of the things that they would normally cover. So your bill is going to be higher.
Really?
Yes. Your name has to match identically. Your identification number on your insurance card needs to match identically, or you're not getting the proper coverage. And so your bill is going to show higher. Your patient responsibility will show higher. So it's really important. And remember, 8 out of 10, that's where most of the mistakes are, out of those 8 out of 10 mistakes that you find. So correcting even the spelling of your name is important. The duplicate orders is the second thing to check for. And that's when they say they used 2 sponges on you when they only used 1. Or 2 needles, or whatever the procedure entails. Sometimes they will double bill you, or they'll give you 2 hospital room kits because you're there for 5 days and you can't keep sponge bathing yourself with the same towels and such. So they bring you this little kit, and it's supposed to be a one charge, all in one charge, and they separate it out. That would be an unbundled fee. So you got to check for unbundled fees. And it sometimes can be a little bit difficult if you're not looking at your explanation of benefits and your provider bill at the same time, deciphering that. You really want to make sure that you get both bills. And typically hospitals and doctors will send you those bills before you get your explanation of benefits, and they'll say, you owe this amount. You don't owe this amount until your insurance says this is what you owe. So, and I'll talk about if you don't have insurance, what you can do to save on that as well.
Great.
But it's saying you have insurance, you definitely want to make sure that you're checking them against each other and making sure all of the information lines up and that your personal information is correct. So those are the first 3 things. Your incorrect data, your unbundled fees, and your duplicate orders. So after that, then if you were in the hospital, you want to look at hospital room times, the actual times that they are doing the surgery. So if you went in at 10:15 and you got out at 10:34, make sure that they're only charging you for that time. They're not charging you for the recovery room time, because the fees are different whether you're in the surgical center or you're in the recovery room or you're back in your hospital room. So yeah, they will try to up those charges, because when you're not in your hospital room, when you're in your hospital room, it's a daily charge. And so you don't get double charged on that. When you're in the OR, they charge you hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars per minute that you're in that ER or in that operating room.
Because there's tons of people in there, I would imagine.
Exactly. And it's an easy way to hide fees and up their bill numbers.
Okay.
So you really have to make sure that you're looking at your hospital room times, which you can find typically on your explanation of benefits. Their provider has to put all of that information in there so that the insurance knows which parts to cover. If you notice there's a huge discrepancy and they say you were in surgery for a full hour and you were only in there 40 minutes, you're getting overcharged.
Okay. And now, is it a good idea, presuming usually someone's waiting for you when you're in a surgery, is it a good idea to make sure that whoever's waiting for you is keeping track of that?
Absolutely. If you're not able yourself to keep a log of every test, every treatment, your operation room times, your medications received, if you can't do it, then it is very imperative that you have somebody there that can be tracking all of this stuff for you. So, because when you're in the midst of a health crisis, you're usually not even thinking of these things.
Of course.
And so you get home and you get this big bill. I was told going in that one of my bills was going to be $18,000, and when I got home, it was $114,000. And I didn't have any complications, no complications, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is what my house is worth. I'm never, ever in my lifetime going to pay off this medical bill.
Yeah, somebody carried a one somewhere. Like, what the heck?
there was a lot of mistakes and upbilling, unbundled fees, and I went through it with my insurance company and used them as a resource, and we got it down to $25,000, and I had paid $18,000. I got $7,900 back.
Wow.
So, and insurance covered the rest. So I ended up paying $100 on a $114,000 bill when the charges should have been just under $24,000. And so they did quote me the wrong amount. It wasn't $114,000 as they were claiming at the hospital. So it's really important to check your bills. It can save you thousands of dollars. And the last two areas are upcoding and upselling. So upselling is when they say, oh, we could give you this brace. You broke your leg. We can give you this air cast, or we can give you this walking device, walking scooter. And you're like, oh, well, if it's not going to cost me anymore, I'll take the walking scooter. And your insurance is like, well, the air cast would have been plenty. We aren't going to cover this walking scooter. So now you're responsible for that whole amount. So the doctor upsold you on this piece of durable medical equipment, and you never needed it in the first place, but they get a kickback or whatever from the durable medical equipment company. So they talked you into it, and you as the patient didn't know that there was going to be a couple $100 to $1,000 difference in what you were receiving.
Because, I imagine that, when you're buying a car, you're kind of expecting the salesman to upsell you. You're prepared to be upsold when you're in your normal retail situation. But when you're sitting there in pain with a broken leg, you're not anticipating that your doctor is going to upsell you. You're just not.
Exactly. These are all the things that I learned, and I made mistakes, and I ended up paying thousands more than I should have. But once I started understanding the mistakes that could be made, I started getting my debt under control. And with the upcoding, they will do something like, oh, well, you have fibromyalgia, but we are going to say you have epilepsy because insurance pays more of this if you have epilepsy. So they will upcode you to a worse disease to be able to charge you more or try to get something done under your insurance. Well, what that does is that goes on your permanent record, and now you have something new, a new diagnosis on your permanent record. If you ever find yourself in a position where you have to get individualized insurance versus through an employer, you are going to have trouble, especially if pre-existing conditions, if that portion of the health bill goes away, you're going to have trouble because now in your records, it says that you have a disease that you don't have so that one doctor could make more money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that you don't allow upcoding and that you keep your medical records accurate. And I actually, at the end of each appointment that I go to, I actually have a page already ready, and you can find it at internationalpain.org, that is a records request. And I use it for future medical care. I have binders of my medical records and my medical bills to keep everything in order and tracked properly. And what I do is go through those medical records and make sure that they didn't upcode me to a new disease or a new condition in those medical records. And I've gone in for something wrong with my arm, and it says something was wrong with my left leg. Like the opposite end of my body is what they wrote up. And I'm like, I didn't even mention the word leg the whole time I was at the hospital. How do you get that in my medical record?
So let me ask you: are there any legal restrictions? Is there anything legally or even ethically that prevents these doctors from doing this?
There is. Well, it is against the law for them to do the upcharges and upcoding. However, it is something that is done often. It's done very often in the medical industry.
Is it hard to prove?
One reason why with chronic pain, just chronic pain alone, it's up to $635 billion with a B dollars a year to treat patients with loss of work and all of the expenses involved. But a lot of that could get cut out, and medical bills as a whole could get cut down if doctors did their billing properly. And doctors want to treat the patients, so a lot of them aren't even ready to do the business side of medical practices. So they're just like, oh, how can I keep the lights on? What can I do? I've had doctors say, well, I know that this procedure works better, but I don't make money on this procedure. So if someone comes in with this specific disease, I am going to give them this other procedure where I make $60,000 to $100,000 per procedure versus one where I'm going to make $1,000 per procedure, because that's what keeps the lights on. And even though it may hurt the patient in the long run, I'm going to do it because I have to keep my lights on. And then I will go back once it fails and give them the treatment that I knew was going to work in the first place. And I've had doctors tell me that off the record, so that, I know, like, ooh, don't go to that doctor. And when I am giving referrals to patients, I say, okay, try to avoid this doctor because I know that doctor is using procedures to increase his bread and butter, and it really affects the patient in the long term. Do I really need this procedure? Do I really need this medication? Is there a treatment option that is better for me, that's more cost effective? You have to, even though you think like the insurance company is paying for it, it's increasing the medical bills for everybody, not just yourself. So you really have to pay attention to everything that's going on in your situation. And like you said earlier, if you can't do it, you need to have a caregiver or a friend or family member that goes with you to your appointments, that can take notes. Have you ever walked out of the doctor's office and said, what did they say? How was I supposed to take this?
Right.
To have somebody there with you to be your advocate is important if you can't do it for yourself. Because
as I'm listening to you talking, what I feel like, what I'm beginning to feel is it's just like, the issue we have with big government. Like whenever you have an intermediary between you and your doctor or between you and another person, it causes an inflation problem. It causes a conflict. And yes. I'm beginning to feel like the insurance company, and this is an argument that you hear on a regular basis, especially there are some doctors in Congress, Rand Paul comes to mind, that has been making this argument for years, that the insurance companies are making big bucks and they're the cause of the problem in the healthcare system. And him and his dad have been saying this for years. That the insurance companies are really the problem. So,
I think that they are some of the problem.
well,
I think
yeah,
the providers not being business savvy is a problem. Some of them do deliberate overcharges. That's a problem. There is some insurance practices like step therapy and prior authorization practices that insurance companies do that increase your bills, but also increase your poor health. And with step therapy, they are making patients try cheaper medications or less invasive procedures when a provider knows that this other thing's going to work. Kind of what the providers do to upcharge you, the insurance companies are doing to downcharge you. So it's a little battle that's going on, and you can get lost as a patient. You can get lost because it is illegal, it is unethical. Well, it's not illegal for insurance companies to do it. It's not illegal for insurance companies. Some states do pass legislation, and I've helped work and testify for that legislation to stop step therapy. But things like the FDA came out with a form. It's a med form. Anytime you have a reaction to a medication, you should have your it's a voluntary med form. It's a 3500A med form, and have your doctor fill that out. If you have a reaction to a medication, especially if you have a chronic or long-term illness, which 1 in 3 Americans does. So make sure that you are having them document when you have problems with the medication. My husband's company has changed insurance providers, and the new insurance provider tries to make me go back and try a cheaper drug that would cost them less money. What that does is that lowers my health, and it causes complications for me. And once I had my own medical records, I could file my own appeal. I didn't have to wait for my doctor. And I knew what was in my appeal. It wasn't just a one-page thing from my doctor. I could say, I tried these medications. Here's the reactions that I had. And this is why my doctor has me on the medication that I'm on, because it keeps me the most managed with my diseases. And being able to do that really has got me through those step therapy practices and prior authorization practices with my insurance company. And then when I found out about the med form, I filled it out. Your provider has to sign it. I filled it out, gave it to my provider. He checked it over, agreed with it, signed it, sent it in. And the next time my husband's job changed insurance, when they said you have to do step therapy, I said, wait a second, I have a med form on file with the FDA. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, your medication will be ready in 45 minutes.
Thank goodness. I mean, why would you, I mean, I would be darn right mad. Like, really, I'm going to send my liver through that? I don't think so.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And they don't understand it. It's costing them more money to put us through this, because you're going to have more hospital bills. You're going to have more medical bills, provider bills. And had they just given you what was right and correct in the first place, if the doctor's not trying to get you on one end and the insurance company's not trying to get you on the other end, and you get the proper care in the timely manner, then your bills are going to be less. But the key is being your own best advocate. If you're not your own best advocate, you are going to be lost in the system, and you're going to be paying. I mean, I was just watching my medical bills climb and climb and climb, and what am I ever going to do? And when are they going to cut off care because I can't pay these bills?
Exactly. I had a doctor try to tell me that a generic medication was the same as another one. I'm like, listen, I'm not a chemist, but I have common sense.
Yes. Okay. By law, generics only have to be 70% similar.
Right. And so, I know math. Okay. I'm not a chemist, but I have common sense and I know math.
Right.
And I knew and I knew that much. And I know 70% is not equal to 100%. I know that.
Listen, the pharmacist tried to tell me, this is the same active ingredient. I said, I don't care. This one works. This one makes me manic in the morning and suicidal at night. This generic. I found out that the fillers that they use for the generics to hold the medication together, it time releases. And the fillers don't time release the same. They break down real fast. So you get all the medication in the morning, and by afternoon, you're screwed.
Yep.
And that happens with time release medication. So it's not the same.
Exactly.
And they try to pass it off as if it's the same, and it's not. It's about 70%.
I was like, yeah, well, I don't know what's wrong with this one, but I can tell you it's not working. That I can tell you.
Yep. Exactly. Especially like thyroid medication.
Right.
I have hypothyroid, so I take a thyroid medication.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely tell between generic and brand name.
But you know, they you know, I guess just because they're pharmacists and they think they can, you know, they can tell you exactly. And I get it. They're the ones that went to school. I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
But I can tell you it's not working. It's not working like the brand name. And
exactly.
if they were
exactly the placebo effect, telling us it's the same active ingredient, telling us that they think that all of us are susceptible to placebo. They learned that somewhere in their medical training. We're not all susceptible to placebo. Our bodies know, especially when you have a chronic disease, our bodies know what is and what isn't happening.
Well,
and although we can't always name it, and sometimes it even makes us like cloudy mind, foggy mind, you really have to pay attention, take notes, so that you can go back and remember, like, I don't remember what happened over the last 30 days, but I have these notes, and doctor, this is not working. This is not the same. There has to be something better. Yeah, the brand name.
Well, not only that, but here's the other common sense thing.
Yeah.
If they were exactly the same, they'd cost exactly the same. And they'd have exactly the same ingredients, and they'd be exactly the same thing. And they're not. So there's that. So, like, you know, it's like not to be, you know, wise, but come on, man.
Yeah, we can tell the difference. And so when we do, we have to speak up. We have to say something. We have to speak up and say, hey, wait, something's not right here.
Exactly. You have to.
Yeah, it might be $5 instead of $30, but for some people, paying that $30 is more important, so that you're actually helping yourself and helping your health.
And ultimately, that's what it came down to. And I was like, okay, well, how much is the name brand? Because sometimes you get what you pay for, and that's fine. But don't assume, like, if it's gonna make me half out of my mind, then my mind is worth the extra $25. Like,
Exactly. Here's another trick. Here's another tip.
Yes.
Have your provider sign the script saying written as dispensed.
Yes.
If he does it written as dispensed, and it's not your choice as a patient, but your provider's choice, the amount that you pay when you go to the pharmacy is less.
Oh, okay.
So you can save money if your provider writes written as signs on the written as dispense line versus can be substituted for generic or other similar medication. It's written as dispense, and then you're going to pay a lower price.
Yes. Now, can you ask for a discount, like on different procedures and things like that? Can you ask for that, like, up front?
Yes, especially if you are if you don't have insurance or you're a cash patient. You could have insurance and ask what the cash price is anyways, because the cash price could be less than your deductible.
Okay.
So, or your 80% or 60% or whatever it is that your provider or your insurance company has worked out with your provider, the cash price could be lower than that. So ask what the cash price is to see if you can get it for less, and then say, 1,000? What about how about 500? If I could give you 500, will you take 500? And see if they will take a lower amount, which could save you. Again, it could save you even if you have insurance with the deductible. They know, okay, I'm guaranteed to get 500, and I don't have to do any paperwork. Or I can have my back office manager filling out the paperwork to try to go for 1,000 and get 250.
There you go. Exactly.
So yes, you can totally negotiate your bills, and that can save you money as well. Especially if you're a cash patient, it's really important to to try to negotiate. And there's also concierge medicine where you pay, if you don't have insurance, you can pay a flat fee to a provider. You get all your x-rays, your medications, everything that you need is in-house, and it's a set fee for each month. And it's typically something reasonable that you can afford, somewhere around $100 a month. But what if you break your arm and you need a cast? Now you get that's included in your $100 a month.
Oh,
yeah, with your concierge service. So it's there are some things, like if you get cancer that it doesn't cover. So make sure you check with your provider what this service covers. But that is another way to help lower the bills.
Now, so I would think that I actually did I have something called 5 Minutes of Personal Finance sometimes that I do. I do at the end of my show, and I cover concierge service in one of those segments. But I would think in this day and age that if you did a combination of like concierge service and maybe catastrophic, that's probably like the perfect combination until they get this whole healthcare thing straightened out. Especially if you're a young person that's relatively healthy, that's probably the optimal way to go. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you don't have any, really chronic, I mean, these days everybody has a thyroid condition of some sort. You know what I mean? And there are tons of prescription programs out there these days.
Yes.
And if you can find a reputable, I feel like there are lots of reputable prescription plans even abroad nowadays. You know what I mean? In Canada and things like, it used to be a time where people got prescription drugs abroad, and some of them were kind of shady and some of them weren't. But now you kind of know which ones are reputable and which ones aren't.
Absolutely.
Which actually, I need to do a program on that.
That would be a great program,
right?
As well as prescription, like you said, prescription medication savings plans. You can get them directly through pharmaceutical companies. You can get them at WellRx or Needy Meds. They have great programs, and you don't even if you have insurance. I had this situation a few weeks ago with the patient I was helping. Even if you have insurance, you don't have to use your insurance. You can get a discount card and look and see which place to pick up your medication is going to be the cheapest, which discount card is going to be the cheapest. Your insurance might not be, just because you have insurance, it might not be the cheapest for that medication. Definitely look into savings plans, and you could say, I need my thyroid medication on this discount card, and I'm going to get my depression medication on this card, and I'm going to get my blood pressure medication on my insurance. Use a combination to get your prices down the lowest that they can be, instead of relying, I have insurance, I'm just going to always rely on my insurance. Insurance isn't always the best way to go.
That's
so you
an
have to look
point.
into these other programs and things that are out there.
And you may even want to vary the different places that you go as well. I mean, it may not always be CVS. It may be Walmart at one place. It may be the Acme at another place. It may be, Walgreens for another medication.
Exactly. You have to go where you can get the best prices and the best care.
Yeah.
And it does help to keep the same pharmacist at the same location if possible. But if it's not a controlled substance like an opiate, shopping and finding the best price is more important. Also, you can get samples from your providers on some of the medications.
True.
I had to use an inhaler. I got asthma from being sick, and my cough didn't go away within 3 months. So he put me on an inhaler. That company, the pharmaceutical company that makes it, gave the doctor free samples. Well, I only needed 2 months worth of the inhaler. I wasn't going to be on it for the rest of my life. So he gave me 2 of them, and I never had to go fill a script. It didn't cost me anything.
Yep. That happened to me before too. You'd be shocked. My doctor gave me a ton of a very rare, it was called a food medicine. It was a specialized category that I could hardly get it. I mean, it was very expensive, even with my insurance, and my doctor had it. She was like, oh my gosh, I have a ton of it. I had switched insurance. I was like in between insurance, and my new insurance didn't cover it. And I had been on it for a while. And she was like, oh, I have that. She had a ton of it. And it held me over until I had gone back on my regular insurance and it was covered again. It was the most amazing thing. People ask me why I believe in the Lord, because he's always covered me. My back. That's why. Because crazy stuff like that has always happened. That's why.
Absolutely. I would say that to my dad passed away, but my mom and dad passed away. But when this all hit, it's so overwhelming when you are living a life and doing everything physically that you could ever want, and you never even have to think about it, and it all hits. And I would be like, Dad, how am I going to pay my mortgage next month? How do I get around? I can't drive anymore. He would say, just give up your anxiety to God. Jesus has you. He will take care of you. If you let go of the stress and you concentrate on fixing yourself and you put your faith in God,
yep,
you will do better. And I did do better.
God's got you. And I have a friend that says that all the time. He's like, girl, God's got you. Don't even worry about it. Exactly. And he's always right. Well, listen, how can people get in touch with you, get in touch with your organization, get your book? Go.
Absolutely. My book is sold everywhere books are sold. So you can go to any bookstore. You can go to my website, which is barbyingle.com. If you need any information about chronic pain, disease-specific information, treatment options, finding a provider in your area, checking prices of what your providers are on average charging for a different procedure, you can go to our website, internationalpain.org, and get all of that information there. So you can go to barbyingle.com or internationalpain.org, and you can go to any bookstore or Amazon or Kindle to get my book From Wheels to Heels or any of my other 8 books.
Excellent. I blew through like all my breaks and my personal finance because your information was just way too valuable to interrupt, and it was just way too meaty. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank everyone for listening. This is Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. You were listening to Barby Ingle. Thank you, Ingle. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a fantastic day. I will see you on Friday. Remember, all of this is important because it's your money. Bye. Oh, ending the wrong meeting.